All right, what's up, everybody? We are live outside the stadium here in Oklahoma. Not the outcome that everybody was looking for. Auburn falls to Oklahoma 24-17, and there's so many things that we need to talk about in this game. And right out of the gate, when you look at it and the breakdown and how this thing went, some opportunities early in this football game for Auburn that didn't go their way. And look, I don't want to get on here and bash officials. I tell you, but there were some calls in this game. Again, I think about it from this standpoint, Faith. And when you put this kind of time and work and effort into a game, and how important it is, and for officials to be blatantly so bad in a lot of areas. And I know you and I just left the post-game presser with Coach Freeze, and again, I'm not about excuses, but there were a couple of plays in this game that impacted this game tremendously. The first one was the scoop and score for Auburn to get things started. And they go back and review it. And, I mean, I didn't have anybody text me, or I didn't talk to anybody at the stadium in the press box. You were on the sideline, that felt like that was not a fumble. It was a catch. It was a fumble, like he was making a move to move the ball to his other hand. He had established possession. He fumbled the ball. Auburn scooped it up, scored a touchdown. That got waved off, so it was an incomplete pass. And then the trickeration play, the deceptive play of substitution for Oklahoma, and Coach Freeze alluded to that. He said all season we were stressed about doing deceptive plays and things like that, and it was going to be enforced. He said, so we're just going to have to wait and see. He was pretty upset about that, but watched what he said because, of course, you can get fined and all that. But it didn't stop there. There were other opportunities, but right out of the gate, there were a couple plays on the road here that I thought majorly impacted kind of the tone of the game. You know, Oklahoma and Auburn matched each other score-wise, and Auburn was able to take the lead 17-16, and then Oklahoma took the ball down less than 7 minutes to go, took the lead, and then Auburn had it back with a chance and couldn't finish it up. That's my initial thoughts. I'm going to kick it over to you. Just kind of give us your thoughts first, Faith.
You know, the run game for Auburn has looked really good up until this point, and Oklahoma was able to shut down the run game, as well as Auburn's defense was able to shut down the run game. You can't blame everything on the refs. Obviously, there's a significant impact that they have, but that's just not something that anybody can control other than the refs, and so it puts you in a tough position. But, definitely the ref, everyone on the sidelines, because there were a lot of people there, had something to say about every single play, whether it was a missed call, whether it was a call that shouldn't have happened. And it felt like in that game that there was nothing that could have made anybody happy in that game. And that was just from maybe the area that I was at. But I know that you kind of had some of that up in the press box too, of just.
Well, that deceptive play was illegal. I mean, there's no other way to spin it. They missed it. Again, it goes back to what I was talking about at the start, that, referees aren't going to be perfect, but, man, they were massive calls blown in this game that impact, for Oklahoma too, that they put a lot of work in. These teams put tons of work in, and, careers are on the line and things like that. And, I had so many people texting me during the game saying, I just frankly think some of these officials don't even understand the rules themselves. And so they missed it. I think another frustrating thing about review is you go to review and you see it and everybody looks at it and you go, oh, well, that's obvious. And then they come back and go, well, we're waving that off. And, the ruling was a scooped fumble for a score. So it has to be inconclusive evidence to flip that. Mm-hmm. It can't be, oh, well, maybe or not. And you go back to that review and you go, well, I could see it, but there's not enough to overturn that. So we've got to stay with that call. And they just said, no, that's an incomplete pass. And I don't think there's anybody that watched that game on either side. I even had Alabama fans, buddies of mine, saying that was a fumble. that was a scoop up. And so, again, you're on the road in the SEC. It's going to be tough. This is a tough place to play. But Auburn really missed some opportunities to be up big in this game. I mean, you really look at it, they turn around, drive down, and kick a field goal. So it was a 10-point swing there. And then you look at a couple opportunities for Jackson Arnold. Jeremiah Cobb had ripped off a really nice run. And then the next play, Cam was open for a touchdown, and Jackson just talked about he missed him. He just flat missed him. And, in games like this where points are at a premium, you can't miss on those plays. I mean, he was 8 yards open.
In this conference, you cannot miss those plays. It doesn't matter what the circumstance is, but when you're playing in the best conference in the NCAA, the SEC, you can't play like that. Next week at Texas A&M, that can't happen because, again, they're going to take it to their advantage. And if Auburn doesn't score points out of it, they're going to do something and score some points out of it. So, that one that Jeremiah Cobb had, that one run.
Really good run.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was kind of the only big run of
Damari had one of about 15 yards, and that was it. I think Jackson had one for 15, but that 44-yard run by Jeremiah, and he really made a play, kind of got in the second level and broke another tackle and got down the field and really put Auburn in a good situation to go down and score. And the right play call, next play, it was dialed up. Cam Coleman really just ate up the guy that was covering him today, but only 3 catches. I mean, he had some other opportunities to have a monstrous game. Had 88 yards, had a touchdown there to give Auburn the lead. And you look back, there was a double pass. There was should have been a pass interference that wasn't called. So regardless of that, you look back at some other things that you can control, and what you can control is pass blocking and protection up front. And Auburn didn't do a very good job today. They gave up over 10 sacks. Was it 10 or 11? I can't remember.
11.
They gave up 11 sacks. I don't care. It may have been 11. It was either 10 or 11. The way I look at this, Faith, is I don't care who you're playing. 11 sacks in a game, you're not going to beat many people. But the thing is Auburn actually played to a point where they took the lead in the fourth quarter. And this was a different way of losing this game this year than it was last year against Oklahoma. 10, but double digits. Yeah. Double digit sacks. And so
they beat their school record history against a former quarterback.
Not the stats you want to be on that side of, but I think Baker said 10 sacks there. We'll get to some of these comments here in just a minute. We are right outside the stadium. Stadium's right here behind us. And again, talked to Keldrick Falk, talked to Damari Alston, and
before we get into that,
Eric Singleton. So
let's talk about PepperTree.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We're going to be here for a while with you guys, so get your comments in, and we'll talk about that. But PepperTree Steaks and Wine, thank you so much for being our partner here on our post-game reaction show each and every week. Again, wish we were coming to you a little bit more jubilant. Felt like we were going to have an opportunity to do that, and but Auburn just cannot get over the hump against Oklahoma. This is they're 0-4 now all time, and they've lost back-to-backs against this program, and they've had chances in the last 2. Really could have easily been 2-0 in this series the last 2 years, and just weren't able to get it done. But another thing that I want to talk about, and of course we'll continue to talk about PepperTree Steaks and Wine located in Montgomery and Auburn, and the best food, and we're going to talk more about them as the show goes on. But I can tell you this. When you also look down at your stats and you rush the ball for 67 yards as a team, you ain't beating many people. Now, again, you look over at Oklahoma, they were worse. They ran the ball 26 times, 32 yards. John Mateer was good enough with 271 yards passing. Jackson was 21-33 with 220 yards. We had a lot of people predicting John Mateer about in that range, didn't we? I think it was kind of in the 250 range, maybe a little 250, 275 range. And he hit that mark this afternoon. But thought overall Auburn's defense kind of settled down and put a lot of pressure on him, didn't allow him to get comfortable in the pocket. He missed on some throws. Defense played well enough to win the game outside of that last drive. And I asked Keldrick about that, and he said it was just an up-tempo deal. And he said we got to be better at communicating and doing the little things when a team's back is against the wall with the clock and they've got to drive down. And so they were able to hit one big pass to get them set up deep in Auburn territory, and they were able to capitalize. I think John Mateer ran the ball in, scored, didn't he? I think that's how they scored that touchdown. So, but Auburn had the ball with a chance. They failed on the 2-point conversion, so it was 22-17. So you drive down, score a touchdown, you win the football game. And just backed up all day, just inside, like poor decisions on special teams, just a plethora of mistakes that you cannot do you almost have to come on the road and play perfect. But you have penalties and you have sacks and you have, mental errors and special talent. Like you have all that culminated and you still had a chance to win the ball game. It tells you you're a pretty good team, and you got to just go clean some of this stuff up.
Have we talked about how many penalties we had total?
No, we haven't talked about that yet.
13. Auburn had 13 penalties, and Oklahoma had 9. You're in double digits over there. Whether or not you think they were well-deserved, I mean, you still had.
You're playing behind the chains against a really good defense. This was the one of the top-ranked defenses in the country, and they proved it tonight. They proved that they could, do enough up front. And I thought there were some plays there in the passing game that Jackson was able to take advantage of, but he also missed some. I mean, again, you hit a couple of those plays. You hit that pass to Cam Coleman. This is probably a different post-game show right now, and it's a different locker room in there. And this was a mistake-riddled football game on both sides. I mean, when you look at it from Oklahoma's standpoint, they did a lot of things too that, they look back and they couldn't run the ball at all. That's a problem for both of these teams. They've got to go back to the drawing board and figure that out, because if you can't run the football in this league, you're going to struggle. You can't count on your quarterback to sit back there with a defense pinning their ears back, knowing you're going to be throwing the ball and be successful in this league.
Something that stood out that Coach Freeze said was that because talking about just the intensity and competition level of this conference, and there's going to be teams in the playoffs that have 2, maybe even 3 losses. So
no doubt.
Just starting your first game with SEC play being a loss doesn't have to set the tone for the future games coming up.
Well, it better not set the tone for the future games. You don't want one loss to bleed into another loss. Auburn got to turn right back around and go on the road to a more intimidating environment than this one right here. They've got to go to College Station and home of the 12th man and one of the largest stadiums in the country.
Right. And that was something I got to ask Damari was, what did you go and tell these guys, and what do you plan on telling them as a leader on this team? And, he told me that when they were already in there, right after the game is, don't think about it as a negative, but as a learning point. And, all we're going to do is, like you said, get back to the drawing board. They're going to do treatment tomorrow, back to practice on Monday, and they're going to get after it because they're going to go out and win that game against Texas A&M.
Well, you got to look at it from this standpoint. We talked about it in the all season. We looked at this stretch. Now 1 game's under your belt, and it's a loss. And you had a chance. And, I hate to say it this way, but Coach Freeze said it. You go on the road against really good teams, you have to have the mindset that we got to go in there and steal one, because home field advantage is so massive in this league. It's massive in Auburn. I mean, it's a tough place to come in. Now, teams have had more success over the last several years of coming into Jordan-Hare Stadium and winning, but they've got to turn that back into their favor. And they're going to have some really good games at home, Georgia and Alabama, that they've got to utilize their home field advantage as well. But when you come on the road to a place like Oklahoma with all this tradition, and the fans are right on top of you, we saw there's no space on the sideline, by the way.
Also, what's up with the guns that they shoot, that it doesn't matter how many times. And
they shot so much ammo, the price of ammo went up because they used so much in there.
Part of it got in my hair, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, you have those traditions and you have those things that really make a part of your school, and going there, and then when they have the horsies run out.
Yeah, I mean it's
After.
neat to come see a lot of this if you've never been on the road, see other schools' traditions. But going back to kind of what we were talking about, um,
Yeah, everybody wish Brett a happy birthday. That was also one of the first things I wanted to say. But
that's my wife, Kim.
yes,
It's in
Kim.
there. So, yep. Yeah, can't let it damper the day.
We're gonna go have a great dinner, so it's fine.
Yeah, we'll go find a good place to eat, and
But everyone wish him a happy birthday
thank
now.
you, thank you, and love you too. Thank you so much for that. Going back to this though, you that is the mindset. You go into a place like this, you go, we got to steal one, and to steal one, you got to play well. You can't play bad and go on the road and steal anything. But Auburn had a chance. They had the lead with 7 minutes to go in the game. It was only 1 point. I thought maybe Oklahoma made a mistake kicking that other field goal to go up 6. I thought they would probably roll the dice and go for it on 4th and 2 and try to score and really go up 10 and really kind of put the game. 10 points at that time would have felt like it was, you can't overcome that. But,
they only went for it once on 4th down,
right.
And they were able to.
Well, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. We were terrible on 3rd down conversions. I think at one time we were 1 of 7 on 3rd down. I think they were 1 of 8. I mean, it was no better for them. So
Auburn was 3 of 15 on 3rd down, and on 4th down they were 1 of 3. And so, but again, like you said, Oklahoma, it's not like they were much better. They were 3 for 12 on
right.
3rd down. So,
and we're gonna get to some of these comments because we had a bunch of them coming in, and I'll keep them rolling in, and we'll go all the way back to the top. Man, lots. John said Auburn looks great, good despite the loss, and yes, calls were questionable. Baker said, hey, great game. The refs made some of the most trash calls I've seen in a long while, but great game. I'm rooting for Auburn the rest of the way. Score predictions, we'll get to those later, John. Baker said, I agree 100%. OU got some big breaks. Never liked these games. They're decided by refs. Andy said, good game. Auburn, I think they did a good job. I don't know if I'll agree with that all the way around. I think they did a good job in some areas, and I think they really, really did a poor job in other areas. I thought the quick screen on 3rd and 2 to Malcolm was I tweeted about it. I said I didn't think it was a bad call. I thought it was a terrible call at the time. And and there's reasons for that. When you throw that ball in that position, you bring the middle linebacker in, and you crowd. There just wasn't enough space for Malcolm to make a decision. We saw Malcolm make a uncharacteristically bad decision, fielding a punt down at the 1 yard line and setting us up in bad field position. Just a lot of different things that went on where Auburn's back was against the wall a majority of time when they were starting their drives. I mean, when you start inside the 15-yard line, you have to hit a big play just to get to midfield. And so instead of the other team's territory. So I will say that they did some good things, Andy, but there's a lot of things they didn't do well. Chris said, it's sad when you have to have a backup team to root for when you're Auburn fan and know that Auburn will not be close to the playoffs. Go Ducks. I can't help you there, Chris. You got to either be tried true or not. Andy, I will agree with that. I think Jackson did hold the ball a bit too long in some situations.
It looked like he was trying to make the most perfect decision and execution. And once he had his first one, it seemed like things were going a little bit better. But definitely holding on to it too long, not going back for seconds.
Yeah, out of those 10 sacks, how many do you think it was, because obviously when you see a bunch of sacks, the first thing people want to do is go, the offensive line didn't do what they needed to do, blah, blah, blah. But how many of those Jackson had 4 or 5 seconds to survey the field and he didn't get rid of the ball? And, an offensive line, you can't, the internal clock in your head as a quarterback is 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. You got to make something happen.
Well, they were already going so late into the play clock of if he doesn't snap the ball, it's going to be another
5-yard penalty.
Right. And that was something that I can only imagine brought up some flusterness of, all right, I have to do it now. but you don't see Jackson Arnold really go back for seconds when he scans the field, the primary, like his first time, and then he doesn't go back and look again. And so that was definitely something that played a big part of the game tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tackles for loss for Oklahoma had 14 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. That accredited for over 100 yards, an entire football field, 63 yards on tackles for loss and 44 yards in sacks. That's a full football field. In the red zone, both teams were really good. 3 of 3 for Auburn, 4 of 4 for Oklahoma. I know John just asked a question about that, but again, those were field goals. They weren't touchdowns, a lot of those. And so one of the things that you look at is, you want to be efficient in the red zone, but you want to score touchdowns and not field goals. Faith went through the third downs, 3 of 15 for Auburn, 3 of 12 for Oklahoma. They were not any better there. Penalties, they had almost 100 yards in penalties, and we had 85 in penalties. So overall, I looked at time of possession in this game, and Auburn controlled the clock in the first half. I don't know where they ended. I don't see the time of possession on this stat sheet, but for the most part, those are the things that stood out. Yes, time of possession. Auburn still ended up with the ball for over 35 minutes, 35 and a half minutes. Oklahoma only had it for 24 minutes in this game. So just a big, big deal there. And both teams ran the ball atrociously. So just one of those things that you look at, and it's better to go to the film room with a win and work on things than it is a loss. And Oklahoma's got a lot to work on, but they're working on things coming off a big win, and they're undefeated and 4-0. And now Auburn drops their first game, and they've got to go right back on the road and play Texas A&M, which is a very much improved Texas A&M team. I thought. Faith, I'll let you read some more comments here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Andy, that they've got a good team together, and we've said so many times, on paper, this team looks like a playoff team. It's how are they going to be able to execute it and come out with a win?
Yeah, that's something that it starts with execution. That in game, like when you have opportunities to make plays, you got to make those plays. Chris said same crap, inaccurate QB and crappy defense play calling in final minutes. I'm not going to change with Freeze at the helm. Again, one game didn't make a season. We'll see if things can turn around. Play calling hurt again. I think there were some times in the game that, I think everybody had the right to question maybe some of the calls that were made. But, I also go back and reiterate the point. If Auburn executes a couple of those plays, Faith, we're not talking about this. And you don't talk about some of those calls because some of those calls were dialed up.
Yeah.
And the players just didn't execute and didn't make the plays. John said, been saying it all year. There will be 9-3, possibly 8-4 teams. 9-3, possibly 8-4 teams in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. Kerry said refs gave this game to OU, plain and simple. They are good on D, but still horrible calls, cost Auburn at least 14 points. Not going to argue with that. That was definitely part of the game, and it definitely impacted the outcome. Tubb said, like I've been saying, and never feel confident the staff's going to coach up and win one they aren't supposed to. Now, I'm going to say this. I had several texts in that game said Auburn just cannot win big games. And it's been too long. And they won one last year against A&M at home, but had a big lead, gave it up, had to win it in overtime, almost gave that one away. But there is a mentality right now. I think Auburn has to break through, and today would have been a great opportunity to get that monkey off their back.
I think everyone thought that Baylor was going to be the game of, is Auburn capable,
Right.
And came out, won against Baylor, but now it's the SEC. It's a whole different program that you're entering into now.
Yeah.
And it's the most important one of the season.
No doubt. KB, thanks for the birthday wish. John, same to you. Shane said first touchdown call back was a T. No, there's no question. I mean, I think you go to the review and what do you look at? I mean, they didn't blow the play dead. That was the right thing to do. Let the play out, and you go back. And How do you not uphold that?
There was definitely not enough evidence to overturn
No,
it.
it wasn't.
There's no way. And I think even some of the Oklahoma fans that were on the sidelines, some of them even were like, I don't know.
Right. Jason said the overthrows were plays you have to make on the road. There's no question. Again, there's such a small margin of error on the road in this conference. And when you have plays there to make, there was one time Cam didn't run. He quit running his route. And Jackson overthrew him. The first big pass to Cam, Jackson kind of underthrew it, and he had to come back, made a great adjustment on the football. But you're taught as a receiver, don't go back to the previous pass.
Right.
That you go, oh, he underthrew that one. Maybe I need to not run as far. Flip the script on that. You run your route and let the quarterback put the ball where it is. And so overthrew him because he stopped. And then the other one he overthrew in the end zone, Jackson just put too much heat on it. And he had him open. He did not have to throw the ball with that much, pizzazz on it. So, John, that's right. Auburn still has everything in front of them. So, Gabe said Jackson held the ball almost 5 seconds on every sack. You cannot blame the offensive line when your quarterback's holding the ball back there in the pocket that long and just not making decisions. Now, again, credit Oklahoma. He's not just stepping back and firing away into coverage. They did a really good job in the secondary on some of our receivers, but we did have some opportunities there. Ed said, you played so much cover, 0. Yeah, and I thought we took advantage of that in the third and fourth quarter, running that cover 0. And, Cam, that's what led Jackson to see him up there at the top manned up, and you can't man Cam. I'm throwing that pass every time. If I see him manned up with no safety help over there, I'm throwing that pass every time because a 50-50 ball to Cam Coleman ain't really a 50-50 ball. It's more like a 70-30 ball. He has a lot greater chance of catching it than the guy that's defending him.
I'll be honest, even last night against Spain Park with Benjamin Russell, Kingston was telling Sedarian, hey, I'm going to throw it to you. I don't care if you got 2 guys on you. I don't care if you got 3 guys on you. I'm fixing to throw it to you.
Well, elite players do that.
He's able to make and complete those. And a lot of that has to do with the connection and the relationship that you have with them. But, it is a problem if Cam is not as consistent on his route running because they don't have that kind of connection.
Right.
That's a problem.
No, I totally agree. Charles said that fumble return and follow-up call really affected the momentum. Also, it seems like we haven't trusted our wide receivers on 50-50 balls. Exactly what Faith just said. Nick Marshall was back there. Charles actually texted me during the game and was like, look, what's open? And I'm like, look, we're just not going down the field as much as it's there. And, you gotta try to take the top off the defense, especially when a team like Oklahoma plays a lot of cover 0. Basic special teams execution, good deal.
And discipline is also what Coach Freeze said in the postgame presser.
Will said, too many mistakes. Good buddy of mine there, Will, up in North Carolina. Offensive line, too many penalties, but AU didn't run the ball enough for Cobb. And they asked Coach Freeze that in there. And he said, look, there were design runs, but, they checked out of it for whatever reason because of the front that Oklahoma was in. And, Oklahoma did a really good job. I thought Auburn won the line of scrimmage early in this game, and then I thought maybe Oklahoma made some adjustments. And I was expecting Auburn to run the football a little bit better. I'll just be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. It definitely doesn't help that Oklahoma, they were able to stop it, and Coach Freeze, he said that they have to make adjustments when they're present and when they happen.
Right.
And obviously from the past 3 games, all we've seen is the run game. And that's why maybe earlier we talked about showing some of those passing routes or maybe not even routes, but can Jackson Arnold.
Can he make those plays in a game, not practice? I'm with you there. Ed said, Gabe said they missed at least 3 PI calls on Cam that would have given us points every time. Not going to argue with that either. Ed said Arnold problem is not throwing wide receivers open. great analysis there. And you don't wait till a receiver break. The ball should be in the air, and the receiver knows the route and the timing and the relationship. The ball's already in the air before the defensive back even knows the ball's in the air, and the receiver runs to that space. And I think that's always a big deal, and you got to be able to do that as a quarterback. You got to be, especially with the elite wide receivers Auburn has. Faith, Chris, man, you're down and out, and I get it. Freeze can't beat Pavia, so it will be the first time in a long time Auburn will lose to Vandy in 2 years. I mean, let's kind of pump the brakes a little bit and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. I mean, Auburn had a chance to win this game on the road. Look, it sucks. I mean,
one game does not determine the outcome of the season, and
I think most of the fans' angst though is the last 4 years, and losing all those close games last year.
Question.
So rightfully so, but I thought Keldra Falk had a great attitude. He said, look, we know that. He said we made strides today, and I thought the defense did get better on the road here against a really good football team. I thought they actually probably played better against Oklahoma than did South Alabama.
Kieran Crawford, of course. Jared Smith was.
I was impressed with secondary against John Mateer.
Yeah.
Look, this guy's a great quarterback, and I thought we played, or Auburn played pretty good. At times, for sure, and a lot better. Will said Cobb 6 for 61, Austin 7 for 25. They got to get more carry. I agree. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, we're not arguing that.
Yeah, Coach Freeze said that. And he said that. And he was asked that question pointedly, Will. He said, was it just what y'all were seeing, that you didn't run the ball with the running backs more or whatever? And he said, yeah. I said it was just kind of what they were showing us, and I'm speaking for him. Yeah,
making that adjustment,
right.
They needed to.
Gabe said we ain't losing to Vandy. John said AU should improve from game to game. That's the goal. You got to take whatever it was that you didn't do well in this game and try to correct those mistakes, and then build on what you do well. Let you read some more of these. The weakest link.
Yeah, Oklahoma is a good football team, and Auburn should have won the game. This team can play with anybody in the country in spite of the mistakes. And it is just cleaning up those simple mistakes that you would think is so simple. Right. And you would think that that's going to be what flips the switch for this team.
Right.
I think Oklahoma is a great team. I think Auburn was able to compete with them and be able to stand their ground, and up until again the last.
Well, they had the ball with 3 minutes to go, and again, bad decisions kept you back up. And here's a crazy thing for all you bettors out there: the sack covered the point spread.
Yeah.
Because that made it a 7-point game. The point spread was 6.5. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Ed said Hugh Freeze has to design more of a running game. There was only 2 runs called to the outside. Again, he said it point blank. Said we have got to be better at running the football moving forward. And I think Oklahoma's got to do the same. Oklahoma's going to have to be a team that really takes a look at their running game, because their inability to run allowed Auburn to put a lot of pressure on John Mateer this afternoon and really force him to make some tough throws and some decisions. Glad they're pulling out. Tired of hearing them idle sitting here beside us. So
I know I kept losing my train.
Yeah, I mean, just if you're gonna get in the car and crank up, just leave. Gabe said probably the best defense we play all year. We'll see, Gabe. Very good defense. Georgia's really good.
Yeah.
I think Texas A&M's got a pretty good defense too. Little OU fight song played in the background. So, John said he expects Auburn to run against A&M. But you better, you better control the game. Again, tonight Auburn had time of possession in their favor, and if you came on the road against most teams in SEC and you didn't turn the ball over that much, and you won the time of possession, you probably feel good about your chance to win the game, and just weren't able to get over the hump there. So, all right, PepperTree Steaks and Wine. Really appreciate them allowing us to bring you this post-game reaction show each and every Saturday. We will be back in Texas next week. The road show never stops, but majority of this travel is going to be out of the way. Got Vanderbilt coming up, and that's going to be about it, because I don't think we're going to be able to make the Arkansas trip because of high school football schedule and all that. But we're gonna
we'll still do one.
Oh, we'll definitely do one after
maybe
from somewhere. We'll figure it
out. From PepperTree, who knows?
Yeah, could do it from PepperTree with the Arkansas game. But the best food, and our prediction winners each week, they win gift certificates from PepperTree Steaks and Wine for fillets, ribeyes, tiger tails, the burgers. Boxes. Oh my gosh! How good is all that sounding right now? I know we're starving to death. Now we got to go find somewhere good to eat. I guess I'm owed something on a birthday dinner. So my wife kind of started that here just a minute ago. Kim, thank you so much for telling me that. Again, all of you out there that have sent me messages today, much appreciated. But go by PepperTree Steaks and Wine in Montgomery and Auburn. You will not be disappointed. Great food, great atmosphere. The wine selection is second to none. Kathy, Paula, Jeff, Kim, everybody, just great people all the way around. And
we love them.
Yes.
They're like family to us. And whenever my family comes in town, they're always there, which makes me happy because I love it.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to wrap up here from Oklahoma. Again, we appreciate all of you that tune us in each and every Saturday after the game. And again, it was a hard-fought game. Didn't go Auburn's way tonight, and going to happen. Now, in a week from now, you go on the road to College Station, you get a win. You're not thinking about this one anymore. And then you get a week off, and then you have Georgia coming in a couple weeks after that. So
y'all are just gonna have to keep up with us this week before when we break down this Texas A&M matchup on Saturday out in College Station. So thank you so much everyone that's watched tonight, and then whoever watches later on. Make sure you go by PepperTree Steaks and Wine if you're in Montgomery or if you're in Auburn, because we love them and they're so good.
Absolutely. A lot of people watching today, so we appreciate it. Will, thank you, bro. We'll have safe travels back. Appreciate you so much. Long-time best friend right there. Will, love you, brother. Appreciate that shout out. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Chris, yeah, I think we're all sick of mediocrity. Want to get back to where we're competing for championships, or where this Auburn football program is competing for championships. So starts next week. Now that this one's behind you, the thing about it, this league, you can't celebrate too long and you can't cry about it too long. You got to move on, or a win will translate into a loss, or a loss will translate into another loss. I mean, it's just the way it goes. Sloan said, I think this team should absolutely believe that it can go win in college. It should. I think Keldrick just said it. He said that nothing's changed. He said we played a really good football team in here in their place, and they made a couple more plays than we did, and we know what we got to do to get back to that. And that's what he was saying. So yeah, I think their mentality is, and Keldrick just said it, he said we got a good football team. He said we got to go prove it. We got to go clean up some of the stuff that we didn't do well tonight. So, all right, PepperTree Steaks and Wine, thank y'all so much. Wow, we love those guys, man. Their food's great. I wish we had a big old – we could just sit out here and tailgate. We wouldn't have to worry about that if we had all that stuff. I had PepperTree ship it here. We could have had it prepared. We might do that.
I love them.
Yes, no doubt about it. Thinking about them. Thank you, Paula. We appreciate that. I appreciate you sending that text. They're watching there. Who's the referee crew? Sloan. Who is going to be the referee crew at I don't think it matters, Justin, anymore. I mean, look, I know I've got friends that are officials and all that, and I'm sorry, but my gosh, it just the officiating on all levels. Last night in that high school game, and then
that was
just some were just horrendous. And I know that people go, man, you have pounded officials your whole life, and I really haven't. It's just, again, going back to the original comment I had starting the show, Faith, a lot of time and effort goes into it, and just get it right.
Yeah.
If you're going to go back to the review and look at it, that's why you have review. If you're going to go to the review and miss it, well, then why you have review?
Agreed.
Just get rid of it and quit delaying the game. So,
no question.
All right, we are going to wrap it up. This time it's getting dark out here. It's actually getting cloudy.
Yeah, we're going to get some weather coming in, so
we're going to get out.
Make it out on time tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that doesn't become a habit. So, but anyway, appreciate all of you out there so much. Go check out PepperTree Steaks and Wine in Auburn and Montgomery. Faith, send us out.
Everybody has the best rest of your weekend.
Absolutely. Be safe out there, and we'll catch you next time for PepperTree Steaks and Wine post-game reaction show next Saturday from Texas A&M.